These are a couple of bottles of bourbon from NDPs utilizing sourced bourbon. They're about 14 to 16 years old. We have been seeing these age statements on bottle labels from NDPs popping up for a good while now, but where is it from and exactly what is it? So the trending name for these whiskeys are called Buffalo Turkey. Now the story goes that it's distillate made for wild turkey, but by Buffalo Trace. A lot of these bottles are being sold from upwards to $250 to $300, but what really is it that you're paying for? Find out now, stay tuned, it's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C. from the Mash and Drum, and welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, and help me keep climbing to 100,000 subscribers here in 2025. Appreciate the support, everybody. All right, so let's talk about these two iterations of Buffalo Turkey bottles. So the first one is from Sealbox, which carries a 15-year age statement and is a blend, while this one is from River Roots. This is a single barrel. River Roots is up near Cleveland, Ohio, and has been putting out a good amount of these lately. Now, what started this phenomenon was people seeing barrel labels that look like this. So as you can see, the original distillery is Wild Turkey Distillery. The spirit name, though, if you look down below, is Buffalo Trace Bourbon. You could see the entry proof was 125. There's barrel numbers, barrel codes. The one thing that people always point out is the original distillery versus the spirit name, which is Wild Turkey, and Buffalo Trace Bourbon, which is how Buffalo Turkey was created. Now, I've heard some people say, wow, this really tastes like Wild Turkey, or this really tastes like Buffalo Trace, or it's kind of a combination of both. So what we're gonna do here really quick is just taste through a single barrel versus the blend. So this River Roots single barrel comes in at 15 years and 8 months old, and it's bottled at 119.54 proof. Price for this one, I believe, was around $250 to $300, somewhere in that range. Now we have the Sealbox 15. Now this is a blend of barrels, and this was released last year for a price of 300 bucks. Now, this does carry the 15-year age statement, and proof on this one is 122 proof. All right, so let's dive into both real quick. Now we'll get into the entire makeup of what's exactly in these bottles. Now the Sealbox 15 to me has a little bit of a heavier oak profile. Also get a little bit more of like a barrel funk in it, which is interesting with that age statement. Compared to the single barrel River Roots, the single barrel River Roots is brighter. It's very candy-like. This actually, like if you blinded me with this, I would think that this would be more Buffalo Trace because it has those inherent like super rich candy flavors. It actually comes off a little bit tropical to me. I feel like I'm picking up a little banana, some coconut in here, and a little bit of cherry. Whereas the Sealbox 15, there's more oak here, more baking spices. It kind of builds as you keep nosing the glass. But let's try these and compare here. The Sealbox 15, I think, is delicious. It's very well balanced. I think it offers a lot of that sweetness, and even though it's Buffalo Turkey, I actually feel like it drinks a lot sweeter than one would think if you're kind of going into this thinking, yeah, this is gonna taste a little like Wild Turkey or Buffalo Trace. Again, not knowing what this is. All right, let's go to the River Roots. Now the River Roots to me, again, just like the nose, it's a lot sweeter. I feel like it's a brighter type of strawberry note I'm getting on it, along with a little bit of banana and coconut. And then I think as the oak kicks in, it's still not as deep and rich as the Sealbox 15 oak that it has. But again, you're talking about a blend versus a single barrel. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is the variance of the single barrels on these Buffalo Turkey barrels that are going around. I tasted at least 15 of these things, and they are all pretty different. I think there's a common thread of sweetness that runs through all of them, but some of them can get a little bit more funky, some of them are even more sweet, and then some of them that I've had are actually kind of flat. So just like inherently with all single barrels, they are gonna be different. All right, so what is Buffalo Turkey exactly? In the spirit of anyone getting misled as to what you're spending your money on, because these, like I said, can be $250 to $300. Recently, I had Associate Master Blender at Wild Turkey, Bruce Russell, on the channel, and I asked him this question a few weeks ago. It kept popping up in the chat, and I asked him, what exactly is this Buffalo Turkey stuff? And this is what he said.
All right, so this question keeps coming up. I don't know if you know anything about this. Have you heard of this Buffalo Turkey stuff that's been going around?
So I'll answer because I don't think even our company understands what it is.
Okay.
I'd like to set the record straight so people don't I don't want anybody to be misled is the thing that I don't want.
Yeah, I've heard about 100 different stories of actually what it is, but I would love to hear it from you. So I think this will be great for just everyone watching to hear. This will be great. So,
Of course. So there was a time in our history where we were, for one reason or another, worried about our ability to continue to make liquid.
mhm.
If you do the math, that's around the time we brought the new distillery online and all that stuff that's going on. So that seems reasonable to me. We partnered up with Buffalo Trace to maybe make some whiskey for us. Now that whiskey is not Wild Turkey whiskey, really in any shape or form. It was made at BT. We did age that whiskey. So if you look at those barrels, they will have a stamp that says Wild Turkey, but they also have a stamp that says Buffalo.
Mhm.
We didn't make it. So it's not Wild Turkey. It is a lot of it 14, 15, 16 years old. I've had quite a bit of it.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. It tastes like 15-year-old Buffalo Trace.
It does. It's really sweet, and everything one that I've had, I'm like, this doesn't really taste like Wild Turkey to me.
It's not us. And so somebody called it Buff Turkey. It is a weird thing because it was made. I'm positive, actually. I'm not going to act like I don't know. It was made using 75-13-12.
Yeah.
But they use their processes, they use their everything, their yeast. They don't have proprietary yeast like us, so they didn't do that. And so it's not Wild Turkey. It is a weird, cool thing, though. And
it is, right?
It's liquid, and some of them I've really enjoyed. So if you go in knowing what it is, that it's not Wild Turkey, it's this weird Frankenstein Buffalo Trace product, then it's really cool. But unfortunately, because this always happens, I've seen a lot of people saying like, "Oh, this is Russell 15 juice," or "Oh, this is 15-year-old turkey," and I'm not just, I've said a lot of things. I'll tell the truth. It's not Wild Turkey. It's not the same stuff. We've not ever used that in any of our products, and it's not even that we thought it was bad. It was just so different than what we do. We didn't want to use it.
So it's your mash bill.
Yeah,
but distilled by Buffalo. But by I almost said Buffalo Turkey.
Yeah.
By Buffalo Trace, but it's all their process, their yeast strain, or that, because that was the little bit of a hiccup that I kept hearing, that it was it was the Wild Turkey yeast strain. No, it was Buffalo Trace's yeast strain. So I'm glad we got that cleared up, because it doesn't taste like Wild Turkey to me.
And it doesn't really taste like any existing BT product either. It's this weird thing.
Yeah, so like you said, it's a weird Frankenstein.
It is really cool. I mean,
yeah.
If you do get bottles of it, it is a weird, cool thing.
Yeah.
I would never want somebody to buy, because this happens sometimes, right? There'll be a non-distilling producer that gets a liquid, and all of a sudden, hey, guess what? This is actually this thing. And I don't want anybody to think they're going in buying Russell's 15 or they're buying some secret. Yeah. The only time we have sold Wild Turkey directly to somebody, right? And for sure it's Wild Turkey. Recently, within the last few years, has been either Single Cask Nation or Pride of Anderson.
So there you have it. This was distillate that was contract distilled by Wild Turkey at Buffalo Trace. But once they tasted it, they realized it really didn't taste like Wild Turkey whiskey. He pretty much calls it's Buffalo Trace whiskey. It is the Wild Turkey mash bill. However, it used Buffalo Trace's grain, Buffalo Trace's yeast, Buffalo Trace's entry proof, and everything else in between. However, it was aged at Wild Turkey. Now, Bruce thought it was kind of a cool thing, and so do I. I think that if you're able to get your hands on some of these and try some of these single barrels that are out there, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it, but at least you know what you're buying. So in case you don't know exactly where to look for these bottles, what we have here are two examples from Sealbox and from River Roots. Again, two NDPs, not a ton of distribution here on the River Roots, but you can get these. I know people are doing barrel picks of these. The Sealbox you could generally get online, but I think these are actually all sold out already. But there are other NDPs putting these out there. So you have River Roots, Sealbox. There's also Elkwood Reserve that I've seen, Old Zach, OKI, Old Louisville, and I just saw another one called New Era. Now, those are the ones that I've seen for the most part, but if you see these 14 to 16 year bourbons that are out on the market, there is a pretty good chance it's going to be this Buffalo Turkey stuff. Now, if you know of any other labels that I did not mention, leave them down in the comments below. Maybe we could get a long running list. This way people can reference the video and see what brands are out there that are putting out these whiskeys, these Buffalo Turkey bourbons that are out there, especially when they see these labels at 14 to 16 years old. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on what the hell is Buffalo Turkey. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. And if you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram. Let me know down in the comments if you've gotten to try any of these, any of the brands I mentioned, or any other brands, like I said, that you've gotten to try. Leave them down in the comments. Let's get that running list going. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Cheers, and I'll see you next time right here on The Master and Drum. Cheers, folks.